What's up YouTube, I'm just another guy and welcome back to Gibraltar United. Quick mention quickly that the resolution's a little bit different on the screen, so if, say, things are a little bit more zoomed out or maybe you can't see certain things, let me know. I'll change the resolution back probably in a few episodes or videos time by the time this gets uploaded. Maybe, I don't know, depends how many I record. But yeah, that's just all I want to say beforehand. So, end of season yet again. How did we do? And I think the best way to do that is just go into the competitions. So, in the Premier Division we won. We got through another season undefeated. We drew one game, and that was against Lincoln, but they were one of the only two teams throughout the entire seasons to score 2 goals against us. And in fact, they were the only team out of the entire domestic season to, in the league season, sorry, to score 2 goals against us. So it was a really good year in terms of the Premier Division. The Rock Cup, we won that as well. The Premier Cup, we won that. And you already know about the Pepe Reyes Cup. So we won all of them. It was a very, very easy competition. And you know what? Speaking about 2 goals, we never conceded more than 2 goals throughout this entire season. That's how good we were. Let's go into the fixture and actually have a look at that. So, I last left you off after the Lincoln game. We won 2-0. Following that, beat Man 62 2-0. Beat Lions 4-0. Beat Lions yet again, this time in the Senior League Cup semi-final 5-0 with Sanchez getting a double on that game. Beat Angels 3-0. Beat Glasgow United. Glasgow United, sorry, 5-2, one of the only teams domestically to score 2 goals against us. But as you can see, we well beat them on the day, really. After that, Senior League Cup final, won 3-0, sorry, against Lincoln with 5,000 people, another capacity stadium there. Following that, Lynx 4-0, Angels 3-0 in the Rock Cup quarterfinals. Drew our only game of the season against Lincoln, then at home. Disappointing game to concede. You could argue that we deserved a win, but you could also argue that the fact is Lincoln continuously tried to fight, continuously tried to get something out of the game, and as a result, in the 92nd minute, they were able to get something thanks to Roy Haywood with I believe it was a set piece or corner. I can't remember if it's a free kick or corner or whatever, but he got one from a set piece. So, you know, Lincoln managed to get a point against us, the only team to do that throughout the entire season. In fact, one of the only 2 teams, oh no, the only 3 teams in the entire year to manage to stop us winning. After that, Cannons won 4-1, beat Lincoln then in the Rock Cup semi-final 5-1, this time a lot more convincing. Castro getting 4 past them on this occasion. Against Angels then, we won 4-1, Castro getting a double. We beat Olympique in the last league game of the season with Castro getting 2 and 3 other goal scorers from our team, including an own goal. And in the Rock Cup final, we were very dominant, beating Cannons, who had a pretty good season for their first year in this division, winning and, you know, getting to the cup final itself. Only 4,268 people rocked up to watch the game. That's because I think Cannons were technically the home team. If we were the home team, we would have picked up, or we would have had a capacity stadium. But as you can see, Perez got a double, Sanchez got 2, and Castro got 3 in a very convincing and easy way to end off the season. So, winning that Rock Cup gave us about 240, I think, £243,000, which meant financially we are pretty good. We're still pretty steady, about where we were last year. We do need to be getting past the second qualifying phase of the Champions League. Of course, we've got the draw coming up a bit later on in this video, so stay tuned for that. But financially, we're pretty solid thanks to that win. Also got some new sponsorships this year. We can go into our inbox now. We'll go into that and talk about a few things. So, yeah, we've got new sponsorship deals, which means overall our sponsorship tally racks up to £75,000, which is again a pretty large proportion in comparison to the league, and again a pretty large difference compared to the average. And also quite a strange thing is that Lincoln, despite the fact being probably the 2nd or 3rd most reputable team in this league, and the fact that they consistently get Europa League football, they only bring in about £10,000 of sponsorship money, and that's the lowest in the league. I'm surprised at seeing that they're the lowest. I don't expect them to bring in a lot, but only 10k. I'm surprised about that. In terms of reputations, we are currently top. We are 1-star team. Lincoln, Lynx, Man 62 are currently 3 teams below us. The team who got promoted this season, I should probably mention quickly, because one team got promoted. We currently have a playoffs going on. We'll have you know, when I get to the qualifying round, I think we'll find out if the playoffs, you know, who won or lost. But Leo FC will be coming up next season. St. Joseph's will be battling in the playoffs. I think it's the first time Leo FC will be in our division. That is. So, you know, good to see how they do, the newcomers. As I said, Cannons didn't do particularly well. They got relegated. I said they had a particularly good year. Sorry, I'm sorry about that. They didn't have a good year. I don't know why I said that. Well, you could argue they had a good year in the Rock Cup, but the first year they will be going straight back down. Angels, Olympique, and Lynx will be trying to, well, Lynx are trying to battle to stay alive, but Olympique and Angels managed to just survive. The top 3 were pretty much you know, ahead of everyone else. It was the top 4 really now. Me, who's just the best team in Gibraltar, the 3 below, Man 62, Lions and Lincoln, the 3 names I'd expect to see there because they're pretty tough teams, and then it's sort of the rest. Maybe next year it'll be completely different because the rest of the teams in Gibraltar are still at a pretty similar standard. It's just us who are head and shoulders above the rest. So, yeah, going back into the inbox, we'll talk about how things grew, I guess, throughout the league, throughout the season. Scrolling past all my scout reports, sorry about that. I do like to scout a lot of people, as I'm sure you'll know by now whenever I seem to do these things. But in terms of our growth, it says we grew 203 places. Again, that is a lie. We grew about 5, 6 maybe. We didn't grow a lot because, of course, we didn't really do anything in Europe. We won a game, we drew a game, we lost 2. You know, there's nothing incredible. So, where are we? 280 something. Sorry, I'm not there yet. There we go. So 282nd in terms of European ranking. Still, you know, up there for 5.408 in terms of our coefficient. So I don't know if we'll be a seeded team this year. Well, it'll be interesting to find out that. But for, you know, a few Scottish teams are above us. Minsk from Belarus are above us as well. So, you know, a few decent sized teams are ahead of us. We could try and get them, you know, try and overtake them. So that's not too bad. You know, we just need a good year in Europe and we'll definitely start climbing up. Qualification places did not change. Our league position didn't really grow. Our league's reputation didn't really grow too much either, due to the fact, of course, we didn't do anything in Europe. And for the first time, I think, ever, we're not the highest growing top division. That ended up going to the Slovenian or Slovakian. I don't have a clue what league that is. But we grew up 4 places, 105th, which if I were to go into the rankings now and scroll all the way down to that 105th place, put it in order of this, you can see that we are currently there. 1.5 stars starts there, 95th, so we're not too far off being, you know, improving a reputation of the league. We're also quite close behind Welsh, the Welsh Premier Division, which is 102nd, so I dropped 10 places. So if we could have a good year in Europe, we'd definitely help improve that. You already know the club is still a 1-star reputation team. Apart from that, I don't think there's anything else really I can talk about in terms of growth. So let's talk about the squad. So it was a really good year. Shame we were unable to play certain people in Europe. For example, Castro, who had an absolute beast year in terms of domestically, 30 goals in 22 games. Well, actually, that would be 21 games, 29 goals, because he scored 1 in the Champions League and made an appearance there. 14 assists and 11 player of the match awards. He was absolutely beast in it. In the league alone, he scored 21 goals in 14 starts, which is incredible. I think that he broke a record for the club then for scoring that in the last game of the season. He broke that record, beating Jason Coling for the most goals, most league goals scored in the season. Sanchez had a really good year though as well, 28 goals, 13 assists and 4 player of the match awards, but he was overshadowed by the incredible Castro. And now one thing you can see from Castro is that he will be leaving the side at the end of the season. He'll be joining an Austrian team, SC Wiener, can't pronounce that last bit. But he'll be joining them at the end of the year, which of course we don't want to see. We didn't want to let him go. But the thing is, in January, I offered him a new deal and he wanted a 2-year deal. And I wasn't too sure about it. I accepted it, but I advanced forward a few days and I decided, you know what, I don't want to offer you a 2-year deal. I don't know if you're going to be good enough in 2 years' time. Let me cancel that. So I withdrew the odds, I withdrew the bid, and of course, you know, he wasn't happy with that, so he refused to talk to me for a while. But then I went to approach him again. I said, hey, look, you're willing to open up negotiations once again? He said yes. He was willing to accept a year this time, but his wage demand had increased from about £1,200 or £1,400, which is what the previous deal I accepted him, to around 1.8, nearly £2,000 a week. And of course, I can't afford that. And so in the end, the contract negotiations broke down very quickly, but due to the fact his agent was reluctant to really negotiate the wage, and as a result, you know, I was unable to offer him a new deal before he was swept up. He had a lot of Austrian teams interested in him in January, and in the end, he'll be going out. We have got a replacement striker. I'll talk about him in a second as well. I've also got a new signing in this team as well. Played 2 games for us last season, came in just before the end, and that is Mattia Albe, I believe it's pronounced. 21 years of age, Italian, the first ever Italian player we've signed. He came in from, he's a free transfer. He's a free transfer pretty much the whole year, so he came in right just at the end of the season. As you can see, he didn't have a club for the whole entire year. Inter Milan, former trainee, has played in the 3rd tier of Italian football as well. Hopefully he'll come in and do a job. The reason he'll be coming in is because Portillo is leaving at the end of the season. He is on his way out. Elsewhere, leaving the club will also be Gregory, Owens and Kyle Jones. They're all deemed not good enough anymore. Kyle Jones is leaving the side just because Perez is now, according to scout reports and stuff, equivalent to him and equal to him. And plus, I can see Perez's growth, as you can see here. You know, we can see that for a fact that he's growing, and as a result, I'm more inclined to try and keep him and try and develop him. Plus, I really like this lad's determination, and that is something, you know, if I see good determination work rate, I am more inclined to try and keep them people. And he's played well this year. He started a lot of games this year and did really well. So to me, there's nothing that says he won't do well. So we're going to keep him for the time being. He signed a 2-year deal, and the reason for that is because he accepted a really low wage, which meant I didn't really mind offering him a few extra years, because that way, if I do bring in a new centre back in the future, I can have a backup centre back or a backup defender, because currently our backup defenders are all youth players. So that means if we get an injury to the defence like we had last year, for example, with Portillo, then in the Champions League we'll be playing a youth player, and of course that is not great because the defence is such an important part of the team. So yeah, that's well, the squad, you know, you can see, as I said, everyone's doing really well, but you expect that now, really. No awards were handed out again this year. For some reason, it just seems to pick and choose this division when they want to hand out awards. Castro, top goal scorer, as you can see, most man of match awards. I'm sure Castro would have got team of the year. Jordan Smith, our new goalkeeper, he kept 8 clean sheets in the league and 16 in all competitions from 23 starts. So he had a really good year for the club. But apart from that, yeah, I don't think there's much more I can really talk about with the team. So we'll go into the transfer, and then I'll talk about the under-21. So the one guy we're bringing in is Stephen Miller. Now, he is coming from Inverness Caledonian Thistles. I probably butchered that. Let me say that again. Inverness Caledonian Thistle. There we go. 22 years of age striker from Scotland and Scottish himself. He'll be playing an advanced forward role next season. And the reason for that is because I couldn't find many good strikers that would be willing to accept a pretty decent wage or a relatively low wage that I could afford. So as a result, I had to go with someone who's not particularly great but has the potential to be a little bit better. So I couldn't find someone around Castro's level. But to me, as long as we can have 2 good strikers or 2 strikers around Sanchez's level starting for me, I'd be happy. I don't remember the wage he accepted. I think it may have been around £700 a week, £600 a week. So it's an improvement for him, but for me it's still pretty low. As well, if you look at his history, he's played in the SPL a few times. I don't think he's ever scored in the SPL, but he's played in the SPL a few times. He's played pretty decently in League One for Scotland, so I know for a matter of fact he'll be good at this level. Football, he'll be good enough surely for the Champions League first qualifying phase. Whether he'll be good in the second qualifying phase and maybe beyond that, I don't know. But we're going to give him a punt, because there isn't much better out there for me that I can currently get on a free transfer, and I don't really want to spend money because, of course, we can't really afford it. But yeah, let's go into the under-21s, because I think that's all I can really talk about surrounding Gibraltar United. So the under-21s throughout the year, I don't think I did this earlier, like last year when I saw you at the mid-season point. But yeah, it's been pretty good. You know, we didn't do well in the qualifiers, of course, but we beat Andorra 3-0. We've drawn to Estonia. At the turn of the year, we lost 7-0 to Estonia, so obviously that wasn't great. Had a really bad year. Had a really bad squad selection there, really. It's sort of my fault. Lost 4-2 to Moldova before beating Liechtenstein the next time the squad made it up, which was just earlier in this month, before again having a pretty disappointing result as a 4-0 defeat to Latvia. So we will be re-entering, of course, the under-21 qualifiers. We got Norway, Denmark, and Macedonia and Slovenia. Have we beaten Macedonia before? We played Macedonia before, 6-2. We lost to them. Really, the team we're probably going to be trying to beat from this group is Macedonia or Slovenia, but it's going to be really tough to get anything out of the group again. If we could get improved from last year's qualifiers, which we got a point in, obviously. If we could try and get a win this year, or maybe 2 draws, that would be great, because as long as we're showing improvement, I'm really happy. And plus, another thing I really want to point out is, if I go into my squad and I have a look at, say, Rawlins, he is 3.5 silver stars. In fact, we can even go into another guy. If we go on to Carroll, Jamie Carroll, who is a 16-year-old, 2.5 silver stars. If I go into my under-21 squad, we see that Jamie Carroll is 1.5 gold stars for Gibraltar. Matthew Kirby, who is 1 star for me as a player, is currently one of the best players Gibraltar can currently field. So that's pretty tragic, to say the least. You know, that is not ideal. There is a lack of quality, of course, in the Gibraltar nation right now. A lot of the people are retiring due to the fact I can't play them and I don't want to play them. So I do need to improve my youth, but the only way that's going to happen is by getting through the European second qualifying phase. And that's what I really want to focus on this year, pushing in Europe. So I think I've done everything I really want to talk about. So let's continue forward. The qualifiers are in a few days, so all I'll do is I'll cut it here, guys. I'll meet you back when we get to the actual draw, and then we'll hopefully get a bit of luck there and maybe get a quite easy second qualifying phase draw. Heck, we may even be a seeded team, who knows. Alright, now guys, we're at the draw, so let's find out who we get. So we are going to be a seeded team or an unseeded team here in Group 1, which means potentially we could be playing TNS, Naxa, I believe, from Malta, or Incamp from Andorra. Obviously, we're going to want the 2 teams at the bottom of the list and not TNS. So let's see who we get. Yes, we don't get TNS. That was the main thing. We get a team from Malta. We've played I think we played a team from Malta before, so that'd be good to go out there and play them. We should obviously get through that quite easily. So we're on to the more important one now, the actual draw itself. So we're in Group 1, which means potentially we could be playing KR, HJK, Hearts, Maribor, APOEL, or Slovan Bratislava? I'm not too sure, but you know, if I have to play them, I'll find out. So, out of them, I probably want to play KR. Now, I know for a fact they've not had great years in Europe. Maybe even HJK. It would be nice to play HJK. Of course, we played them that first time in the Champions League, and we didn't do too well against them, so I might want to play them. Kind of want to avoid Hearts, not because I think they're going to be a massive, you know, not because I know for a fact they're going to be a massive danger, but because they could be. Either the team from Slovenia or Cyprus, I wouldn't really mind them either. I kind of want to avoid them from the team from Slovakia. But you know what? Any of them, you know, whatever. You know, we've got to beat someone pretty good, so any of them I'll be pleased with. But obviously, the 2 at the bottom, HJK and KR, teams that pretty consistently get into Europe. So the fact they've got low points, to me, says they don't get very far. So I'd like to get them too. So let's see who we get. So, not me. Could potentially get these guys. APOEL. I believe we have. No, we haven't. I thought I pressed it and it was like lagging, like you used to in the past. You used to lag when it was your name coming out. So we're at home first. So Maribor, Hearts, HJK, KR, HJK. You know what? Bring it on. Bring it on. HJK. I'm not sure how good their players are. I'm not even sure if they've got any real players in their team at all. In fact, they don't. But so as a result, actually, we're not even able to see if their players are good. They've got no valuation. I don't know. Apparently, this is their key player, but again, apparently they have a real player. They have a real player in their team in the B squad. Let's get a quick report of him from my assistant manager. What I'll do is I'll continue forward, and we'll have a look at what the report card apparently says in comparison to my players, because they might give them players similar to that level. Elsewhere, though, a few things I can talk about. Not Lynx, sorry. No, it was Lynx, I believe. The team who were in... Anyway, the team who were second bottom of the league last time, I said, like, last time I showed you, or earlier on in the video, I should really say, because this is going to be the same video. But yeah, they didn't get relegated, so only one team came up for this year, and it was Leo FC, so there'll be one new entry into this division, which should be interesting to see. But look at that. If HJK are provided players around this guy's level, then potentially we could be in with a shout. You know what? We should be in with a shout either way. So, I'm optimistic. We do currently have an injury to Perez, which is terrible. It's probably one of the worst things that could have happened, because we don't have another centre-back. I just said that a second ago in this video. We don't have another centre-back, so I've got to look for another centre-back before the start of the first qualifying phase. Not really the first, but the second qualifying phase, because Perez is out for 6 weeks, maybe 4 to 6 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks. So he's going to be out for both first, second, potentially third qualifying phase. So we will need a new centre-back coming in. I've currently got a few people in mind. No official bid has been made yet. So, but we've got a lot of people leaving in quite literally in a few days' time. Plus a few people are being released on free. That'll free up a lot of wage. Hopefully, that'll give me a bit more wage to spend, and then I can go out there and try and sign a new player or whatever. But yeah, next time I will meet you back will be the first qualifying phase. It will be against Naxa L from Malta. Should be a good game. We've got a friendly against Panathinaikos as well on the 15th. I will be keeping that in because it should be a really good game for us to get loads of money through gate receipts. But yeah, I'm optimistic this year in the Champions League. Optimistic, highly optimistic. So until then, guys, peace out.